name is Christina Soto. This is my applied assignment presentation. So starting off with the pre-work, before beginning the first parts of my project, I first had to think about who in my life is faced with a disability. I decided to focus on the topic of dyslexia because my 14-year-old brother was diagnosed with it. I see how my brother works very hard every day to finish his homework and assignments, and I wanted to focus on that and all of his achievements. For the interview portion of my assignment, I decided to interview my mom because she would know better than anybody what challenges my little brother faces and what resources the school is providing him. I did have some background knowledge on dyslexia. I knew that he had trouble reading and that he would mix up his letters and write them backwards, which can be very confusing for anyone to undergo. So I wanted to explore more on a more personal level what he goes through and what challenges he faces every day. For course resources, I chose to use the article provided Race, Identity, Stereotyping, and Voluntary Oppression. I chose to use this as one of my sources because I wanted to know if my interviewees were facing any kind of prejudice because of his disability or any other factors in his life. The second course resource I used was Equity, Parental Caregiver Power, and Disability Policy in the U.S. Context. I chose to use this article as my source because I want to find out if my mom knows that she and my brother have rights and that there are laws in place to make sure that my brother has access to any resource that he may need. I'm not sure if many parents know that there are laws in place that protect children with disability. I know before taking this class, I had no idea that there were these kinds of laws in place involving education to protect their children. So I wanted to be informative on that. For out-of-class resources, I used mayoclinic.org, Dyslexia Symptoms and Causes. This was to just give further detail on the causes and effects with dealing with dyslexia, and it'll help me further educate myself on the subject. The second source I used was brightfuturedyslexia.com, Challenges of Dyslexia. I also used this article to educate myself so that I'm more aware of what having dyslexia can entail. And I'll use it to better my understanding so that I can use this knowledge when creating my interview questions. For evidence, these are the examples of the questions that I asked my mom about my brother. It states that my brother Ricky, he was diagnosed with dyslexia about 6 years ago when he was 9 years old. The school noticed he was struggling to read and he was writing some letters backwards, so they decided to have him evaluated at the school. I asked how his diagnosis has affected his academic performance, and my mom said he was struggling badly. It set him back a few years in his reading. He is in 8th grade, but when they test him, he is reading at a 6th grade level. So I asked what kind of resources the school provided, and she said that he gets handwriting exercises and he has a dyslexia class he goes to, and he gets one-on-one teaching. I also wanted to know how having dyslexia has impacted Ricky personally, and she said in the beginning he would get mad at himself and he would put himself down, but now he is good and he is getting better at his reading, which I probably wouldn't have noticed as from a sister's perspective, just how much he was having trouble personally, affecting his mental health or how he sees himself, but I'm glad that he's getting the help that he needs to build confidence and to move forward. I also asked if anyone has in his school has shown signs of stereotyping towards him because he has dyslexia. And she said no, but whenever he acts out, they like to make accusations that he may have ADHD as well. And I think that I'm not sure if they would suggest that he had ADHD if he did not have dyslexia. I feel like those two diagnoses go hand in hand. But when I think of how he's acting, I just see him as a regular teenage boy. But of course, I am not a doctor, so I can't. I can only give my opinion, not professional opinions. Has his teacher or school suggested any other kind of evaluation because he is dyslexic? And my mom said they want him to get evaluated by his family doctor. So I'm sure she will have that done in the future. For my new learnings with inclusion, I've learned that inclusion means much more than just having specific events or classes for one certain group of people. It means making those classes and events accommodating so that everyone can be involved and work together. For an example, having a sensory-friendly roller skating night isn't very inclusive to everybody because it's only advertising to a certain group. But for it to be totally inclusive, it would have to be advertised for everybody and be accommodating for everybody's certain needs. For equity, I learned that everyone should be treated as valuable individuals, and that just because someone has a disability doesn't mean that they should be judged on their inability, but rather for who they are as a person. For access, I learned that we can all do our part to advocate for the disabled community around us so that more businesses are accessible to every individual. For my continued inquiry, moving forward, I would like to continue learning about being inclusive towards those around me. I want to learn how I can do my part to help promote inclusivity in the media and advertising around my community. I want to also learn new ways that I can be an advocate for the disabled community and how I can talk to businesses and organizations to improve their accessibility. Some questions that I have for my peers is how has this class changed your perspective on the disabled community? And would you feel confident sharing what you have learned with others around you? Thank you.